Welcome back into another edition of Kolby's Corner Live, coming to you here from the draws of Scott Stadium, where if you're watching this game from a Virginia Tech lens, the only positive you can really draw from it is true freshman wide receiver Shamarius Peterkin popping that 57-yard touchdown reception to keep the scoring streak alive for, I believe, the 394th game. Outside of that, Virginia takes the cup for the second time since 2019, defeating Virginia Tech by a final score of 27-7. Got to eat my prediction there. I'm sure I'll eat that this week. We'll talk about that, the results of the game, instant reactions, some takeaways with the play on the field, and projecting forward, obviously, with the busy weekend back in Blacksburg, Virginia. We'll touch on all that in the show. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, drop a comment. We'll go until we get kicked out of Scott. So appreciate all the support. But yeah, just getting into things. First off the bat, I think it'd be remiss to say, for there much of the game, the offense obviously struggled a lot. And also apologies for the audio. We're working here in Scott Stadium, so got a lot of people going. But I think first off, when you look at the offense and what really there was a lack of, obviously for Virginia Tech, they've been very dominant in the ground game and establishing the run game. Prior to kickoff, when you find out that your leading rusher, tailback, Marcellus Hawkins, was not going to be available, it already sort of puts you behind the eight ball, which is less than ideal, obviously, when going up against a solid, probably not elite Virginia defense, but someone where Virginia Tech's offense really was not able to get much push at all along the offensive line and in both the running and passing game. They're early on those first couple drives. You saw Jeff Overton really kind of be able to go out and, get some things going, get the offense moving a little bit. I think they had 90-plus yards on those first two drives, and then that was when the 3-and-out started. I think they went 3-and-out 7 times in a row after that, and a lot of that falls on quarterback one, Kyron Drones. And obviously a lot was made of why was the change not made there. Kyron's final stat line in a Virginia Tech uniform, 4 of 16 with 2 interceptions and the 1 touchdown to Shamarius Peterkin. So Kyron Drones had 78 passing yards, 57 came on that one play to Peterkin. So, there for the longest time, he was operating at 26 passing yards against a Virginia defense that was good. They had a nice day, but it was just obviously that Montgomery was questioned, and people have been questioning for a little while why a change was not made, albeit not relevant for the real stature of the season, but just, obviously the Commonwealth Cup's on the line, and there's always something to play for in the game. So I think that was really interesting. Obviously, it was a big point of contention coming into the game. People were really questioning on if that was going to be something to monitor, and we kept saying over on VTScoop.com that Kyron Drones was going to keep starting, much to people's dismay, but that was the way it played out. If you're just joining, apologies for the audio quality here in Scott Stadium, trying to find a place to record this. Appreciate everyone jumping in here who's been jumping in here all year long, sticking with us. It's been really awesome getting the show going. But yeah, I think if you want to talk about this game and also projecting forward, that quarterback position was key. You don't have to look far past that 4 of 16, 2 interception stat line to know what is going to be the biggest emphasis for James Franklin and staff to land that quarterback in the portal, that guy who you can build an offense around. When you look at Virginia, this is a program that really struggled a year ago. They go out, get their guy in Chandler Morrison. Look, it's in that 10-2, 10-win season in the regular season, about to go play for an ACC championship. It really is more critical, not only about the head coach alignment, what staff you get, and you have to have the quarterback in place to win at this level of college football. That's going to be a massive emphasis for James Franklin and staff to not only recruit the guys. You want to talk about a Cole Bergeron, really talented kid on campus right now. Troy Hune, someone you can realistically see ending up in the class, flipping that entire quarterback room, but you have to go get someone who can go do it next year and hit the ground running, because you have to have that. Gone are the days where you can just really have an elite defense and kind of lean on that. You have to have a signal caller that can go win games. And obviously they didn't have that difference maker tonight. So that's going to be a big priority for James Franklin moving forward. I thought that, like I said, the lone flash in offense outside of Peterkin's one play, I know he had that drop. We talked to him post game. Obviously a good interview. Have a clip over there on X at Kolby_Crawford talking to Snook Peterkin on that 57-yard pop play. But I think someone you can really see, and we've highlighted on this show for multiple weeks now, they can start to build the offense around a player that fundamentally, is going to be part of it for a while. Jeff Overton, 11 carries for 53 yards, Had the one long one for 31 yards, finished the average of 4.8. This is someone, like I said, coming off the ACL to come back and finish the season the way he did. Very, very impressive. So I think that was another positive there on the offense. As Duke as I guess SMU just lost to Cal. So that finalizes that Virginia and Duke will play for an ACC championship game. So there's a real possibility that an 8-5 Duke is an ACC champion, which is crazy. Anyway, besides the point, but a lot to shake out there with the Lane Kiffin news and such tonight. So appreciate you spending your time with us. But yeah, Jeff Overton along the offensive line, going up against former Freedom High School teammates Cam Courtney and some of those other guys making plays out on the field. But someone you can see building forward. That's someone who's going to factor in next year on offense, who's going to be a part of the plan with James Franklin and co. 11 for 53 tonight. Obviously, to pair with his long touchdown run at Miami last week, his long receiving play against Florida State. And this is someone who's still coming back off that ACL, knocking off the rust. But you can see the signs of someone you could really formulate around. Because when watching and evaluating this game, there's going to be a lot of people processed out of the program. There's going to be a massive, massive overhaul. So as you it's a self-scout here as you build through it. And that's someone that's going to be a part of that next chapter. Moving back along, obviously staffing is going to be really big. The Sunday after season, it's always tough. I don't want to take out the human element of this thing. There's a lot of people affected by these decisions. It spider webs out a lot further, and I know everyone's compensated very well, but there's a lot that goes into this, and it's tough. So the Sunday after, it's going to be tough for the staffs, the players, and all their families, but there's obviously going to be a massive overhaul, and it's how quickly can Franklin start to fill in his staff ahead of signing day, ahead of the portal window, and start to see those things trickle out. Because as big as landing that head coach is, you have to get the staff right, as you've seen tonight. You have to get those coordinators right. It's going to be very, very important. It'll be interesting as signing day approaches. And as signing day approaches this Wednesday, no better time to go to vtscoop.com subscription. 75% off deal. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Going to be no better coverage ahead of signing day. Probably going to be going live every night this week ahead of signing day. It's going to be extremely busy. Neglecting all my finals for this. So make sure to click subscribe. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. The support has been insane. But as Virginia Tech is building the groundwork for their next era under James Franklin, this first high school signing class being flipped right now is going to be a big part of that. We'll have all the exclusive coverage here and on btscoop.com. So make sure to subscribe. Go get a VIP subscription. But anyways, besides the point, that staff moves not only with the current staff and who sticks around, what attrition there is there, and then what other potential guys come on. So I think that's another big point coming out of the game. And, how many different rock bottom moments can you feel like you've been at? I feel like losing the cup to Virginia on their field, having them storm the field when you were 3-9 to finish the year, 27-7, that's tough. Almost losing the scoring streak. There's been a lot of really low moments in the last couple eras, but that definitely feels like sort of the point of no return. So it'll be very interesting to see the dynamics next year in the Commonwealth Cup. But yeah, you have to tip your cap to UVA. They came in, sound operation. Chandler Morris had himself a nice game. Jamari Taylor had himself a nice game. I think Jamari Taylor got over 1,000 yards on the year. Chandler Morris kind of did what he did all year. Didn't shoot the lights out, but was just efficient, man. The third down efficiency, picking up plays when he needed to with his legs. Had a touchdown on the ground. 35 attempts, 21 completions, only sacked once. Just kept them ahead of the sticks, kept them in the game. UVA's defense had 2 sacks, 4 tackles for a loss, 2 quarterback hurries. It was just a total team effort. And they came out and they won all 3 phases and they won the game handedly by 20. So you got to tip the cap. They're going to go play for an ACC championship. And, yeah, so I missed the mark for sure. So got to eat that. But definitely just some of those instant takeaways. But as you could not tell, I don't think Virginia Tech players didn't come out here and play hard. I don't think Montgomery didn't come out here with the intention to win. It's just as big as this game felt here in Charlottesville, Virginia, I think a lot of people, stakeholders around the program, people covering the program, people invested, even fans, know that And like I said, the game is the most important on the field. As a college football purist and someone who just loves the sport of college football, it's asinine to be like, this game means something. This game will always mean something across every rivalry weekend. Every rivalry game means something. But it's not like people mailed it in, but people are definitely cognizant of what was going on in Blacksburg and how that shapes up the future of the Virginia Tech football team in 2026 and specifically beyond. So Virginia takes the cut back, and it's going to be bulletin board material for James Franklin early in those winter workouts to play off of. He's someone who's come in early and has shown the ability and quality and honestly drive to call on tradition, to call on different things, educate himself on traditions and important things that matter to Virginia Tech, and then play to those strengths and play them up to different people to try and exude emotion. So no better example than that than losing to your in-state rival. But with that, get on some recruiting, then we'll touch on some Q&A before we scoot out here. Appreciate everyone jumping in here. Make sure to dump any questions in live chat. We'll try and touch on those before we head out of here. Before the last time we recorded, Virginia Tech landed 3 commitments. Obviously, we had the Messiah Mickens video up on the YouTube channel, but they got Pierce Peterson out of Dodge Center, Minnesota, the tight end, high 3-star per 24/7 Sports. Roseby Labindis, the offensive tackle, also from New Jersey, high 3-star, and then Marlon Bright, the other offensive tackle from Wayne, New Jersey, high 3-star. All 3 of those guys coming on Thanksgiving. Roseby and Marlon sort of right next to each other, and Pierce was a little bit of the sneaky one there around Thanksgiving dinner. But, I mean, what a job. Obviously, Marlon was the Penn State flip as well. Pierce was committed as well to Penn State. So those 2 flips. And then Roseby committed to Penn State, decommitted, committed to Syracuse, decommitted, was going to recommit back to Penn State. And then Franklin got fired. So he was going to follow Franklin again. He has great relationships with all these guys. And as Penn State wins today and as some things shake out there, I think you have to feel very good with a lot of the prospects Virginia Tech has hosted. It's going to be a very busy couple of days. I would expect tomorrow to be a very busy day as well. So it's going to be a busy time here in the race to signing day Wednesday. VTScoop.com is the place to be. I know I say it, but realistically, if you care about recruiting and the future players out on the field, there is no better coverage of Virginia Tech recruiting than VTScoop.com. So VIP subscription, an incredible deal, $2.50 a month for that VIP sub. I think you'll very much get your money's worth. Had a VIP note dropped late last night, got confirmation of a couple very big visitors on campus this weekend, obviously hosting another massive group of visitors this weekend. You talk about top 247 linebacker Terry Wiggins on campus, 4-star offensive tackle Thomas Wilder on campus. I have a crystal ball in for Thomas Wilder. Green Run just lost in regionals to Indian River last night, but he made the trip up. 4-star offensive tackle who obviously committed to Virginia Tech on July 5th, decommitted, and I expect him to rejoin the class. You talk about Davian Brown out of Trinity Episcopal in Richmond, composite 4-star wide receiver, arguably one of the best players in the state. Multiple other flip commitments. Maddox Cochran, just off the top of my head, Benedictine, offensive tackle there in Richmond. They've got a ton of offensive line recruits specifically, already a couple guys in the boat, but I would expect a ton of movement before Wednesday. So good jump in the discussion there on VTScoop.com. But yeah, Pierce Peterson, someone who's going to have to, transform his body a little bit at next level. Someone who was a high school quarterback, very, very athletic. Going to have to put on some mass, but someone who's dynamic. And I don't know, they're not afraid to recruit the tight end position and in numbers. Virginia Tech the last couple seasons has kind of neglected recruiting that position. Obviously under Franklin, it's been a core tenet. When you look at guys like what he's been able to accomplish up at Penn State at the tight end position, it's something that's very important to him. So I don't know. I'm not saying that they're done there. I think they're at a good number there, but I wouldn't be shocked to see them keep pursuing that position. As you look at Roseby Labindis, he's going to have to transform his body a little bit too. Obviously, that these guys are all very talented, but as you project them, if he's going to move to tackle, if he's going to slide inside, he's going to have to get on the weight plan, get on college, probably drop a little bit of weight, and probably the opposite for Marlon Bright, a guy who's got the frame, super tall, athletic, can move well, but probably got to add a little bit of size to go up against some of these trenches guys he's going to face in the ACC and non-conference play. You talk about you play Maryland next year, you're going to be playing Big Ten and Power 4 teams non-conference. So just getting those guys up to speed. But, really quality players. When you saw where the class was to get those guys committed is super, super big. And now you've got Buddy Wegnum on campus, also committed at offensive tackle. Terrell Simpson, obviously from Leland, North Carolina, offensive tackle. Those two tackles, Thomas Wilder, projected to enter the class. Like, you've completely rebuilt the offensive line in one class. Ron Croak, the last couple of years, there was a time where you brought in 5 offensive linemen across, 2 or 3 cycles, which is, or 2 cycles even still. It's just not sustainable to build depth at a position you don't have, but so many 6'5", 300 guys walking around your campus. So it's been really important and big to land that. Now, also in the class, last note, I know I'm rambling a little bit, getting into some questions. Adrian Hamilton was at Michigan today for the game, offensive lineman out of St. John's in D.C. I do probably still expect that flip for him to split from Virginia Tech to Michigan. One to watch, Matthew Lamar, who visited last weekend from Nokesville, Virginia, Patriot High School. He was also at West Virginia, as well was, I believe, Xavion Cleveland from Green Run. 2 guys Virginia Tech is definitely targeting. Going to have more updates on that throughout the week, but 2 guys to monitor as we get closer to signing day. A lot to play out there, very, very big for Virginia Tech and other shooters. But a couple notes there on recruiting. If you have any more specific questions, dump them in the chat. We'll go through this and sign out of here. And like I said, before we jump into that, thank you so much for all the support. It gets old, and it's like, maybe I should skip over, but it's been kind of overwhelming, all the support. So, people reaching out, kind words, it means a ton. Keep trying to produce the best show, grow, and give the best content. So thank you. Any feedback is highly welcome, and thank you so much. So subscribe to the channel if you enjoy it, share it with a friend, and let me know what else you want to see into the future. So thank you guys so much. Let's jump into some questions and get out of here, get back on the road to Blacksburg, because we got scoops we got to get over on btscoop.com. So we're going to get back boots on the ground, and it's going to be continuous coverage up until signing day, beyond signing day, but really going to be a sprint these next couple of days. So I implore everyone, if you have interest in Virginia Tech, there's no better place to be than here in btscoop.com. So Ashton, appreciate you, my man. This is my favorite show. You're at row 1, no voice tonight. So thank you, man. Leaving the game and you hopped in here. That means a ton. Thank you. Got Tyler P saying Duke versus UVA in the ACC championship game. I mean, SMU, like I said, like UVA they controlled their destiny, and they went out and took care of business. I thought SMU realistically, Cal, lame duck, just lost their coach, but you've got that 5-star quarterback, Duran Chiave Sangapulatella. I saw he had, I think, 4+ maybe passing touchdowns. You can't underestimate your opponent. So it is kind of crazy that the ACC, like everyone was talking about the ACC nightmare scenario, it's right there. If Duke goes and wins a game and it's a 5-loss team, you're probably going to have a James Madison and a Tulane or a North Texas get into the playoff. There's just no way that you can justify ranking an 8-5 Duke ACC champion ahead of one of those teams, at least in my opinion. And now there's so many, it gets so murky. Oklahoma barely handled business. Bama skirted by, but now they're in the SEC championship. If they go beat Georgia, of course they're going to go get one of those top 4 seeds. So I don't know. I think it's all kind of asinine. In my personal opinion, when you talk about college football, if you're arguing about that 12-13 spot, you honestly didn't deserve to be there. The BCS era was great because you were one of those top 2, and, you left out some of those teams. So then you go to the playoff and it's 4 teams, and then you have people arguing about 5, 6. If you're not in that top 4 group, you could look at the year where obviously FSU get left off the table. Undefeated Power 4 conference champion should not be left off and not be able to play for a college football championship. I believe that, but I mean, we start looking at 12, 13 teams. The regular season has to mean something. I don't care how talented you are on paper. If you can't go handle your business in the regular season, you cannot devalue these regular season games. Like, it's gotten to the point where you're walking in and it's like, why? I'm talking to one of my friends coming to the game. It's like, well, why would they not rest whoever? Like, they'd still, and obviously it's different because Virginia controls their destiny, but like, this is a late game in November. This has to mean something. If you lose that, you lose the sport. And I'm going on a little bit of a tangent, but I feel like you got people with hands on the wheel who don't understand what makes college football so special. And, you can't devalue these games. I mean, Virginia, this is so big for them as a program to get the cup back. I mean, they had their highest attendance since 2011. Like, it means something to these towns. It means something to these programs. So to devalue it for just this playoff bid, and I know it's like democratizing it so everyone feels like they have a shot, but realistically, it still, kind of populates, bubbles to the top, those talent teams. But Anyway, that was a little tangent, but that ACC situation can be very, very interesting. Randall Big Irving 11-5-3 said, was Pop not eligible? No, Pop was fully eligible to play. People say didn't make the trip, made the trip, was here, was dressed, obviously healthy, could have played, just a personnel choice. So VT had a lot of issues communicating defensive calls when UVA was in third. I thought that was interesting. Yeah, it definitely was interesting. Obviously, when UVA kind of went hurry up there, Virginia Tech was struggling to get defensive calls in half the time. Defensive linemen would just get their hand in the dirt for a second and they were snapping it. So I made their offense operate a lot more efficiently for UVA. That's sort of just a season long of issues, especially here down the stretch in November. Virginia Tech's defense has given up, I think, 27 plus points in the last 4 or 5 games. It's been a really tough showing there late. And, a lot of his injuries, obviously had 22 guys out. So when you're missing personnel, it's hard to go into the third and fourth quarter against some of these physical teams. You're talking about Louisville, Miami, FSU, and now a quality team in Virginia. You're playing quality opponents. So they can tire you out if you don't have the personnel. But they definitely were struggling with that. Just keep an eye on for any Lane Kiffin news or anything. But appreciate everyone as we get close to the midnight mark for tuning in. Got Run Ruby saying, will we see an assistant/coordinator hiring on Sunday? I don't know if I'm going to put an exact date on that. I think you'll see it here pretty quickly after the season. I think you'll start to see some moves here before signing day. Obviously, he already has a lot of his personnel back in recruiting staff in Blacksburg. Penn State situation is a little different. They beat Rutgers today, so they're bowl eligible, but I don't think that will really change much. I think you will start to see some of those moves here very soon within the next week. So answer a couple more here before we move out of here. I can feel people getting antsy behind me. Enemy territory, I guess. Got Run Ruby also. Are there any reactions so far to how this official visit weekend has gone? I know it sounds bland, but early reports has gone very well. So I would make sure to tune in to vtscoop.com, turn on alerts for this channel and X account because it sounds like it's gone very well. So would expect some news to start trickling out here soon. Menace, looking forward to your videos, man. I appreciate you. That means a ton. And we got Godfrey Pie. Thank you, Kolby. Thank you, man. It's all about you guys checking out the show. And I know, like I said, I will say this because I can feel people about to boot me out of here. Do not devalue the games on the field. The Commonwealth Clash, all these rivalries should be held with great reverence just for the sport. I feel so fortunate to even be adjacent to this moment, just in general, like to get to cover this, to even be around it. Like I literally feel like a little kid in a candy store because this is what it's all about. I love college football, and it's like, don't devalue that because that's what it's all about. You can get lost, and recruiting and all this matters so much. So I don't want to make this moment cheap. Like, this is massive for Virginia as a program, and it's only going to obviously ignite Virginia Tech even more when you make a big hire like that to step back up to the plate and understand, okay, this is where we've been lacking. So take no credit away from Virginia. This is really big. But it's just, was the buy-in of Virginia Tech the same way once you get that news, because you're sort of almost pitching for the future. Virginia's a really quality team, but I think you'd be lying if a lot of people weren't already sort of gazed on the future. Now, this would have been the absolute, not just a cherry on top, it would have been the full sundae because, the beat your rival when they have everything on the table would have been very, very impressive. But Virginia was the better team for 3 quarters, and Virginia Tech just didn't have enough in the tank. But I think it'll be a whole different story, new storylines, everything going on next year with the new staff, new players, new team, and we'll have all the coverage here. So appreciate all the support. That was sort of just the last final thoughts on it. Yeah, really appreciate you guys. Last good reaction from the end of the year. I will keep everyone posted on the new Kolby's Corner schedule. Like I said, this upcoming week, I would presume a live video probably tomorrow with what I'm kind of expecting coming down the pipe, Monday, Tuesday, and some special coverage Wednesday for signing day. So subscribe to this YouTube channel. get a VIP subscription at vtscoop.com because it's going to be very busy as James Franklin kicks Virginia Tech into the next era, and we'll have all the coverage on what's going on behind the scenes. And yeah, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with a friend. It's been one heck of a season. I think I've been to 15 collegiate football games in 14 weeks. Thank you guys for making this possible. So I don't know exactly what the future holds beyond this year, spring ball. But yeah, thank you guys for making this possible even for this moment. So until tomorrow, not seeing you for long, but yeah, don't know the next time we'll see you on a college football field. But until next time, signing out here for Kolby's Corner on Sunday. Now Sunday, November 30th, from Virginia, punching their ticket to the ACC Championship, defeating Virginia Tech by a score of 27-7 to take the Commonwealth Cup. We'll see you next time. Peace out. God bless.